All right, seventh graders, page 2. Let's take a look at the homes of Native American Indians in your packet. So if you don't have it out, get out your review packet that I sent home with you guys, and let's take a look at your answers for the second picture here. Once again, actually, to review what we did in the first video, we talked about the land bridge theory, the first Americans coming to the Americas, and as they migrated down into North America, all these different tribes developed, over time. Obviously, some of these are very familiar names to you. Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois, obviously very active where we currently are. So we're going to go through these questions, work through it. Now, this document's showing you the homes of Native American Indians. And as you guys know, obviously, depending on where you lived, was a factor in determining what kind of home you built. Do you remember at the very beginning of the year, what do we call this structure right here? Think about it real quick. Right, yeah, it's an igloo. An igloo was built up in the northern portions or northern regions of North America. Over here, where the Iroquois were, where we currently are, and I think you guys made these in elementary school, right? Remember the Iroquois longhouse? And of course, out on the Great Plains, these sort of tent-like structures, they were known as, that's correct, teepees, were very, very useful because they could take them down rather quickly. The Plains Indians were on the go. It wasn't a permanent dwelling like the longhouse. They were constantly moving around. But, we always look at the entire document, so we get our bearings of where we are. This is a map of North America. Obviously, this is a long, long time ago, but it is after civilization. So the Cherokee, the Shawnee, Arapaho, Pueblo, Apache, Navajo, Cheyenne, all these different tribes developed over time. And they developed very unique cultures. Culture is your way of life. The food that you eat, the clothing that you wear, all of those things were impacted by their environments. So think of environment when we try to answer these questions that follow here. So question number 1, based on the document, what animal was important to the tribes living on the Great Plains? So we have to find the Great Plains. How do we do that? If you don't know where the Great Plains are, look at the titles here. These are the eastern woodlands up here. This is the Arctic region. And then if you read the last one, here are the Great Plains right now, right here. So living on the Great Plains, let's read it. On the grasslands of the western Great Plains, wood was scarce, but buffalo were plentiful. Plains Indians, such as the Cheyennes, lived in teepees made from buffalo hides. So what's the animal? The animal is buffalo. And that would be your answer. The animal that was important to the tribes living on the Great Plains were, yes, the buffalo. Remember the buffalo? The Plains Indians used the buffalo for everything, for their food, for tools, for fuel, for their blankets, for their clothing, for the teepees, the hides used and stretched on these poles for the teepees. The Plains Indians used the buffalo almost exclusively. In fact, once the horse was introduced to the plains, they hardly even farmed, meaning they were almost 100% reliant on the buffalo. And as you'll find out later in history, that is going to be a huge problem because as Europeans settle and eventually move further and further west and get to the Great Plains, eventually in the years after the Civil War, so we won't talk about this until 8th grade, but the years after the Civil War, a lot of buffalo hunters go out west and they kill off the supply of buffalo to the point where they're all gone. And these Plains Indians it's going to greatly impact their way of life and actually have to, it'll change it. But that's next year's material. Let's take a look at question number 2 based on the document. Which Native American Indian group lived in what is now New York State? So you find New York State. You probably already know this because you're thinking about it, but this is where we live, New York State here, right? Here's best I can make of New York State. Well, that is awful, but that's the best I can do. Let's get rid of it. But the tribe is the Iroquois or the Haudenosaunee. We'll talk about this when we actually go to the Farmers Museum. One of the exhibits is different Native American tribes and the Haudenosaunee in particular, and the contributions of that tribe to this area. But that's your answer. Which Native American Indian group lived in what is now New York State? It's the Iroquois or the Haudenosaunee. They lived in the eastern woodlands with good farmland and plentiful forests. People such as the Iroquois could build sturdier homes. These wood-framed longhouses, as you see in the picture right there, had separate sections for each family. And these longhouses actually held a lot of family members. These were extended families, definitely not nuclear families. Remember, a nuclear family would just be mom, dad, and you, probably the people living in your house right now, where an extended family is, aunts, uncles, and more people in that home. So these longhouses were definitely larger dwellings with larger families. Last question. State one reason Native American Indian tribes developed different forms of shelter. Now, that's not something we're going to figure out just by reading these different descriptions of different areas. However, if you think about it, I think you can figure this out. When we talk about different forms of shelter, why did they build longhouses in the eastern woodlands? Why did they build teepees on the Great Plains? Why did they build igloos up in the Arctic? Think about that. Think about their area. Think about what they're surrounded by. I mean, when you build something, you use the resources that you have. So these Native Americans had to use the resources that were around them. So up north in the Arctic, what was around them? Ice, snow, and that's why they built igloos. And what was the resource on the Great Plains? It was the buffalo. That's why they used the buffalo hides to build these teepees. And finally, in the eastern woodlands, what was the resource there? It was wood. These long wooden longhouses is what they ended up building. So to answer that question, you would say something like built their shelters from available resources, or that the environment influenced the type of shelter that they build, or different climates adapted to different places in their environments to build those structures. And that gets us through our second document. Like I said the other day, I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I'm going to continue to push out these videos the best I can. Like I said, the more videos I think I do, the better I'm going to get at it. I miss the time in the classroom. Hope you guys are all doing well. Make sure you're keeping up on things. Hey, if you do any of those reviews, because I see some of you guys have gotten on some of those websites with those videos, don't be afraid to type up a review. If you want to share it with me through Google Docs, and I can write comments on it right away. I've actually gotten a few of them already from you guys. Stay connected as much as you can. Don't spend your entire day working on social studies or some of your subjects. Take breaks now and then. Definitely, this is not meant to overload you guys by any means. Take your time and communicate with us. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you just want to talk, or you want Mr. Merck to send you an email back, feel free to do it. I'm here for you guys as we work our way through this. Be good, stay healthy out there. Keep practicing those social distancing strategies that we've been using, and hopefully when this weather breaks and the snow melts, we can get back outside and go on some long walks. I know that's what I've been missing the last couple of days here. So be good, you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.